Welcome to another amazing episode of Raising Private Money. I'm Jay Connor, the Private Money Authority, and also the host of the show here. And this is the show where we talk about raising private money for all different kinds of asset classes, how to raise private money for your real estate deals without ever asking for money. Well, my guest today, he has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars in private money, and he's got a very, very interesting story. He graduated as a pharmacist back in 2016, and he worked at a hospital in infectious diseases. And from there, he migrated over to becoming a landlord. Well, he purchased one single family home a year. So, what he did is he slowly built up a reputation at his local college for having high quality student housing rental spaces. So instead of renting the house out traditionally as a landlord and you're renting the whole house out, what he did is he rented it by the room. And what he discovered is that there was double the rental income and a lot more cash flow compared to renting it by the whole house traditionally. Well, by the age of 28, he became a millionaire and was earning multiple six figures in rental income using the student rental process. Well, he teaches others how to do this very same thing. He teaches his what he calls his room hacking system, and he figures out neighborhoods with great cash flow, renovating to increase the maximum rental space. And he teaches how to find high quality tenants and managing properties with his very own unique systems. Well, I'm so excited to have as my guest, and you're going to meet Mr. Ryan Chaw. Well, hello there, Ryan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jay, for having me on. It's an honor.
Absolutely. What an interesting story. You started out as a pharmacist, then you migrated, started to become a landlord. So why leave pharmacy and go into real estate investing?
Yeah, so I was a pharmacist for 8 years. I just first got started in buying single family homes nearby my local college. And what I did was I saw my friend who was doing the same thing. And he basically in college, he rented out to his college buddies and he was able to not only live for free, but also make cash flow on top of it. So I just started out. In 2016, I bought my first property in Stockton, California. It was $262,000. And I just was off to the races. I just bought one a year. And I wanted to, of course, live life on my own terms, be able to basically do what I want, where I want, with whomever I wanted to do it with. And so eventually, by buying one property a year, I was able to replace my full-time pharmacist income. And from there, I basically was able to retire at the age of 31. So I retired in August of 2023 from my pharmacist job. And yeah, ever since I've just been living off the rental income and the cash flow.
So, in other words, you got to that point, and so the question came up to your mind, which was, what's next? I mean, you don't have to get out of bed, you don't have to go to work, but for goodness sakes, you got to have a purpose in life. So, you started renting out by the room. And so then it sounds like really your most recent passion and purpose in life is now sharing this technique with other people that would like to be doing the same thing that you're doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And just expanding my student housing portfolio. I built up a really great reputation in the local area. And so, I have tons of students. I have 90 students right now, and I have a team that manages it. And I basically spend a lot of my time training my team. It's a virtual assistant team. And a lot of them are based in the Philippines. And, on the side of this, I also mentor people, teach people how to use this strategy because typically on a single family home, you could be making, let's say it's 6 bedrooms. You get it to 6 bedrooms. You rent out each bedroom for $700 a month. That's like $4,200 per month on a single family home. And most of these single family homes can be in the $300,000 price range or even $200,000 price range.
So does your system, does your process really work in any college community?
Yeah, I actually have 3 or 4 different cities that I invest in. I'm in Sacramento, Stockton, California, and Huntsville, Alabama, and I'm also in Cleveland, Ohio. So it kind of works for every market that I've been in. And you just have to find a very good quality college, not necessarily Ivy League, but it does a college that has a good amount of graduate programs available for like healthcare workers, engineering, law degrees, etc. These students are really focused on their studies, and usually I have graduate students and like medical interns, medical residents, and fellows for fellowships. And that's kind of like the bulk of my student population, or the bulk of my tenants. And so that makes for a really good tenant base while also making a really high rental income on a lot of these properties. And keep in mind, since they're just single family homes, my mortgage payments range from as low as 1,300 to maybe up to 2,000 a month, while my rental income is, like I said, around 4,200 per month. My highest rental income is a 10-bedroom property that's making 6,500.
Very nice. Well, in this process, in this system, it sounds like possibly you could pay full retail value for a house and make the numbers work. Because I mean, is that what you're doing? Are you
Yeah,
buying these houses at just regular retail value?
exactly. Yeah, definitely. Why would I pay more compared to, somebody else, right? I just buy it at market value.
Right. Well, that's a very different model than a lot of real estate investors. A lot of real estate investors in the single family space are looking for distressed properties, looking for properties that they can buy at a discount.
Hmm.
And of course, unless you know how to find those and you've got systems in place, that can be a challenging situation. Finding properties at distressed prices.
Yeah,
And then
definitely.
the renovation. Of course, I've rehabbed over 500 houses here
Wow.
in our local area of only 40,000 people. Of course, that's over a period of time of 2003.
Mhm.
So this is would you also call this business model co-living? Is it the same thing as co-living?
It's similar, yes, but it's specifically student housing because the majority of my people are students or healthcare workers. So I pick up a lot of like travel nurses or residents, but almost everyone stays for a full year, essentially, unless I'm buying the property, like let's say in January, then I might do a 6-month lease until July or August. And then from there, it's August to August leases. So everyone ends up on an August to August lease. So it's similar to the co-living model in that sense. It's very stable. It also makes just as much as, or actually sometimes even more than Airbnb. And I have 1-year leases, so I don't have to worry about moving people in and out all the time and having to pay for a lot of cleaning fees and all of that. It's just a very stable, very secure way of buying real estate. Plus, adding those additional bedrooms doesn't cost too much money. A lot of people think, oh, it's going to cost me $5,000 or $10,000 to add a room. Well, that's not usually the case. A lot of times you can repurpose an existing room, like the office or the family room, as a bedroom just by putting in furniture. And if you put up some drywalls and doors just to maybe separate out part of the living room to be a bedroom, then it costs anywhere from just like 1,500 to maybe 3,000. Usually it's like 1,500 to 2,500 per room that I add, which is not a huge significant amount. It's something that I make back within about 2 or 3 months from the additional rental income that's made on that room.
Right. So how many bathrooms do you need correlating to the number of bedrooms?
Yes, so I stick with a 3-person to 1 bathroom ratio. So however you like, let's say you have 6 people at a house, I want to have at least 2 shared bathrooms. So it's 3 to a bathroom. If I have a private bathroom, I might put a couple in there because those 2 can share that bathroom and the other people can share the rest of the bathrooms at the house.
Right. So if you got three people staying in three different rooms, sharing one bathroom, how do they know who gets to use the shower when?
Yeah, so that's obviously something they work out among themselves. It's usually not too hard for them to just figure out, like, okay, he showers later, somebody else showers in the morning. And again, like just with 3 people to a bathroom, it usually works out just fine. Plus, if it's, you need to use the restroom, there's always 2 bathrooms that you can use. So you can always use the other one if you,
Right.
yeah, I've never really had any people have like large issues with that. Yes, there are people who prefer to have a private bathroom, and we'll charge more for that. We'll charge like 100, 150 to up to $200 more for that. But for the most part, yeah, people are getting used to, especially these college students, they're already used to being at the dorms where they have to share with like 20 other people, right? the communal
Right.
bathroom with like 20 other people. So they're pretty happy with sharing with only two.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting. So, what about the what about the shared co-living space, such as the kitchen and et cetera? How does that work logistically for the common areas?
Yeah, so they all share. Usually, I have one big common area. It's like the kitchen slash living room, or maybe I'll have a kitchen and a living room separately. But essentially, yeah, there's only one or two common areas, and they all share that. What's cool about student housing is most of the time these students spend their time, a majority of their time, in their bedrooms rather than in the common spaces. Nowadays they watch Netflix or study, and it's mainly done in the bedroom. So I have many houses where the students don't even use the common areas. In fact, I live at a house hack myself right now, and no one really even uses the couch in the common area or anything. So it's yeah, it's pretty good in that sense. Let's say there is an issue with fridge space, we can always buy a mini fridge for somebody, for example, for them to borrow in case there's a limited fridge space. There's certain things we do too, like we call it the purge, where every like probably twice a year, I would say, we have the students all label their food, and then we purge any unlabeled food. And a lot of times, there's food that people forgot about, maybe, right? So doing the purge at least twice a year usually, resolves that problem.
Right. Now, as far as the individual rooms go for these college students, do you furnish the rooms or they got to furnish their own rooms?
I do furnish the rooms, yes. Luckily, it's all tax deductible, of course, but I do furnish with pretty good furniture. I buy from Amazon, Walmart, Target. I think they have very decent furniture for sure, or Home Depot, of course.
All right. So, what goes in a room? What do you furnish it with?
Yeah, I have a bed, mattress. I have a study desk. I have a chair, like a study chair, a nightstand, and drawers for the clothes, and some sort of closet. It could be either a standing closet or a closet that was already built in.
Okay. So, let's talk about the money on this business model. On average, if you're contrast for me, on average, if you're renting a property out as a traditional rental, you're renting the whole house
Right.
out versus you're renting it out by the room. I mean, is that double? Is that triple? I mean, on
It could
average, how
be
much
double or
more?
triple, yeah. So usually I would say rents in the areas that I invest in are anywhere between like 1,500 to 2,500, maybe maximum 2,800. But yeah, generally the houses that I buy for the sizes and everything, they're around that. But by renting out by the room, 700 per room times 6 bedrooms, it's more like $4,200, and
Right.
that's kind of just for 6 bedrooms. I have gone up to 10 bedrooms at a house, and eventually I might split that into a duplex if it's that big. Um, and so that can go all the way up to like $6,500 for 10 bedrooms, like 5 bedrooms
Right.
each side of the.
Right.
Mhm.
So, in layman terms, easy to understand terms, of course, you've got more cost, you've got more overhead. Of course, you're paying the utilities and you're paying the water, you're paying sewer, you're paying electricity or gas.
Oh,
Um,
actually, sorry, the tenants pay all utilities, all the
so,
except
so
for
the
landscaping.
so the rental of 700 per month does not include utilities.
Correct.
So, how do you figure out how to charge for utilities?
Yeah, so I basically add up the electric, gas, water, garbage, internet, and I just divide that by however many students there are. So if there's like 6 students, I'll divide by 6, and then they'll each pay a portion of it. So usually it ends up being around anywhere from $40 to maybe on my other like the houses that use a lot of energy will be maybe more like $100 a month. But that's pretty much it. And parking is free, washer dryer is free. So it's definitely a lot cheaper compared to a lot of the apartments and a lot of the on-campus housing. Like
Right.
on-campus housing and apartments, they usually charge like 1,000 or more, right? And I'm charging half of that, or well, like
Right.
700. Yeah. So it's
Right.
a lot cheaper for sure.
Yeah. So are the utility bills different every month?
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
Because you're passing on to them actually what the cost is.
Correct. So I have a bookkeeper. He works for us part time, Philippines. I pay him 1,200 a month, and he does all the bookkeeping for the utilities. So he'll download all the bills for all 14 of my properties, of my rental properties, and he will divide it evenly and send out the email and everything to the tenants at the end of
Okay. So do you self-manage these properties?
Depends on what you call self-managed. So my job nowadays is just training my team, but my team does the management. They do all the operations.
All
So
right.
I
So
have
what
somebody who's a full-time who basically does all the marketing and customer service, customer care. And we're thinking of taking on another full-time or either 20 to or 40 hour a week VA as well to help out with the customer service and marketing. But yeah, generally just one full-time VA for that and a part-time VA for the bookkeeping. I was able to manage 90 10.
Wow, that's amazing. So how many virtual assistants do you have that's helping you manage all this?
Sure. So I have again one main bookkeeper and then one main full-time VA, and then I have a few other like VAs that post on Facebook. And we charge we give them like 250 a month or 300 a month just to do the Facebook posting and respond to things on Zillow and Facebook messages, etc. So they also get a small commission for every person that signs a lease. So we do have that system in place as well. And then I also have obviously a local boots on the ground person to help with the tours. A lot of times I actually incentivize the students to do the tours though. So I'll pay like $25 for each tour a student gives. And I'll also give them another 25 if they can convince the person that they gave the tour to sign a lease. So ultimately, I tell them you can get $50 potentially for every tour you do. And a lot of students, they jump on that. And, it's a good way to give back. And then the local boots on the ground manager, she does help with tours, but she also goes through the houses, marks off all the areas that we need to, maintain and fix. And then she also has a handyman crew that can fix all that stuff.
Okay, so you have a handyman crew already identified in each of the markets that you're in, right?
Yeah. So it's usually like a father son combo a lot of times, believe it or not. Well, the one in Cleveland, she has her husband who's a handyman, and she also has her son in law who's a handyman. So between the three of them, they do all the cleaning, the handiwork for our houses, everything. Same thing in Stockton. I have somebody who also is a father son crew, and he, does all the handiwork for the son, or sorry,
I
for the
got you.
property. Yeah.
Right. So is all the marketing to find new tenants, is all that handled and promoted on Facebook?
So I have automated systems. So there's a site called Avail, Avail, and I basically post my ad there and it'll shoot it out to multiple different housing sites. It goes to realtor.com, rent.com, apartments.com is included in that. And what's cool is the Avail will send you email leads to your inbox, and I have a Google App script. It's called Google App Scripts that basically reads through all the emails, and it'll automatically respond to every single mail lead. It'll respond with our application form, our Google form. It'll respond with pictures of our houses, our website link, and it will basically automate that whole process.
That's
So I do have a lot
amazing.
of like back end automation for sites like Avail. I have back end for like ULoop, something called University Loop, which is specifically for students. There's also roomies.com, Zillow.com, obviously. And I'm trying to think about what else. Oh, Furnish Finder. Sometimes if I'm buying a house, before August, I might bring in some travel nurses from Furnish Finder.
Wow, that is amazing. How long did it take you to get all these processes in place?
Oh, I mean, I built it up like slowly through the years. So it sounds like a lot, but at the beginning, honestly, it was just Facebook groups, like Facebook housing groups is where I advertised. I probably for the first like 4 or 5 years, it was just like that was all I did for marketing. I posted on Facebook group. I got so many leads from it that my houses would be filled within like 3 to 4 weeks. Not even kidding. Nowadays, because I have more tenants and everything, I kind of rely more on referrals, so I don't have to do as much marketing. And then, the automation on the back end kind of does any marketing.
Right, right. So, how do the logistics work? Somebody's interested, they want to apply. So
Mhm,
now they fill out the application.
mhm.
How does the approval process work? And I think you've got your own system, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. I think you call it the Prime method
Yeah. The Prime
for
method.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. How's that work?
Yeah, so I can just walk through the Prime method to start. So Primes is basically a method to find high quality tenants. So each letter stands for something. So P stands for placement of advertisements. You want to place your ad in areas that people are like your target market is looking. So for me, college students, they will be looking maybe at Facebook groups like Facebook housing groups. They might be, on Uloop or roomies.com to find a room. And so those are kind of like the best places for me to post. R stands for reviewing social media. So if they're contacting me through Facebook, especially, I like to I allow them. I mean, I like to like look through their Facebook profile, make sure they're not smokers, drinkers, loud partiers, that type of thing. So I really kind of I have my VAs nowadays take a look at what type of tenant they are. Let's see. PRI stands for identifying the type of tenant. So is this somebody who's very needy? They seem to be very needy. They're asking for a lot of things before they even move in, and asking us to kind of take care of like everything for them. Uh, that's the type of a tenant, obviously, I try to avoid. And then M stands for measuring responsiveness. So how responsive are they to us? Are they getting back to us with the paperwork quickly? Usually the more responsive the tenant is, the more responsible they end up being as well. And then E stands for ensuring proof of income. So you always want to make sure you have some sort of proof that they have income coming in. So 3 times the monthly rent as income. So let's say I'm renting it out for $700 a month. I would like to see $2,100 per month coming in, either from their parents, from a stipend. A lot of students get stipends, like grad students, for example. Financial aid. A lot of students have financial aid and student loans. So those are all potential documents that they can send me to prove that they have income coming in to cover the rent. But a lot of these people, they're already paying like $20,000, $40,000 per year in tuition. So they're usually able to handle another $7,000 or $8,000 per year for the rent. And a lot of times the parents are helping them with that. So, you might ask for bank statements from the parents. And so that's basically the approval process. It's very simple. They fill out the Google form, they show the proof of income, and then my VA usually helps them get a walkthrough of the house, and then the VA will send them a lease to sign, explain the move-in process, and everything like that.
Ryan, you've got a fascinating system in place that you have figured out. You've built this out. You've clearly, I'm sure, learned a lot of lessons of ways not to do this business,
Yeah.
and you've you've got it automated. So, what's some advice or tips on a newbie, a real estate investor, or someone that would like to really learn about getting into this space? How can they get started?
Yeah, obviously, you can always message me. My website is www.newbierealestateинvesting.com/guide. If you want the free PDF, that's www.newbierealestateinvesting.com/guide. And you can, put your email in there, and then I'll get in touch with you. And you can always email me any questions that you have, or if you're thinking of getting into student housing or professional housing and you want to get started. But what I would give as far as advice, I would say it's really important to just get started as soon as you can. Because if you think about it, if you want to replace your income, your W-2 income, you want to have financial freedom, it usually takes a couple rentals for that, like 4 or 5 rentals, because each property that I buy is, anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500 up to 4,000 per month in net cash flow after expenses. So you really want to have like 4 or 5 of these at least. So you want to start now because it's going to take a couple years for you to get and scale to 5 properties. Maybe you buy the first one year one and you want to save up the second year you want to get the systems in place. So you wait a year to buy the second one. So over the course of 5 to 8 years, you can eventually reach that financial freedom, but that's only if you get started today. Every day that you wait, you're pushing back the timeline. Every year that you wait, you're pushing back the timeline. Yeah. Just get started as soon as you can.
Thank you so much for sharing such an interesting strategy and process of investing in real estate. Thank you for giving us your time. And one more time, I want to give out that website of yours, which is newbierealestateinvesting.com/guide to get that free guide that you've offered. Ryan, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me on.
Absolutely. And there you have it, another amazing episode of Raising Private Money. Of course, if you want some funding for these deals, I can help you get some private money as well. That goes without saying. And I need your help. Yes, I need your help. If you're listening to this show, for us to have more amazing guests come here on the show, I need you to help me with liking, sharing, subscribing. Follow me if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform. Give me a 5-star review. And if you happen to be watching on YouTube, be sure and subscribe and click that bell so you don't miss out on any more of the upcoming amazing episodes. I'm Jay Conner, the Private Money Authority, and I'm looking forward to seeing you right here on the next episode of Raising Private Money.
Are you feeling inspired by the knowledge you gained in this episode? Then head over to jconner.com/moneyguide. That's jconner.com/moneyguide and download your free guide that shares 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate investing business right now. Again, that's jconner.com/moneyguide to get your free guide. We'll see you next time on Raising Private Money with Jay Conner.